They earned millions of dollars, performed to sold-out crowds, and became household names across America. Yet the money, vanished assets were sold off, and their final years bore little resemblance to their glorious public image. What caused these famous stars to fall into such circumstances? Share your theories in the comments, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Coming up next are stories that show just how fast Hollywood can change a person's fate. Whenever Billie Holiday appeared on television or stage, audiences remembered the gardenia in her hair and the soulful voice that could silence an entire room. She was not only a famous singer, but also one of the artists who helped define American jazz and blues. Billie's recordings continue to be cherished across generations, but life behind the spotlight was never as easy as many believed. In the later years of her career, Billie Holiday faced numerous health, financial, and legal challenges. Certain issues caused her to lose many performance opportunities, and her income dropped significantly. Although her records were still being released, and many programs continued to introduce her music to audiences, Billie herself no longer enjoyed the stable life she had during her peak. She had to work constantly while her health declined to cover living expenses and debts. In the summer of 1959, Billie Holiday passed away in New York at the age of 44. According to many historical records, the estate she left behind was meager compared to her immense contributions to American music. Billie Holiday's story reflects not only the extraordinary talent of an artist, but also reminds us that success and fame are never a guarantee of a peaceful life. Her true value remains intact in the songs that continue to touch the hearts of millions around the world. Few child actors left as strong an impression on American television as Gary Coleman. In the sitcom Different Strokes, the boy with the witty smile and the famous catchphrase, "What you talking about, Willis?" quickly became a beloved face across the country. The show's success made Gary one of the highest-paid child actors of the time and a familiar icon of late 1970s television. However, as he grew up, Gary's career path was no longer as smooth. A congenital kidney condition prevented him from reaching normal height and affected his health throughout his life. Additionally, many records indicate that most of the wealth Gary earned as a child was not managed effectively. Despite winning lawsuits regarding his finances, the recovered funds could not fully compensate for what had been lost. In the years that followed, Gary continued to take various jobs to sustain his life and pay for medical expenses. Gary Coleman passed away in 2010 at the age of 42 following a head injury from a fall at home. His life is a reminder that early success does not equate to a future that is always smooth. In the end, what remains in the audience's memory is the image of the boy who brought laughter to millions of families and became a memorable part of American television history. In 1940, Hattie McDaniel stepped onto the stage to accept an Oscar for her role in Gone with the Wind, becoming the first African American to win an Academy Award. It was not just a personal achievement, but also a major milestone in Hollywood film history. Following that success, she continued to work in radio, film, and television, helping to open more doors for Black artists during an era of significant barriers. Despite being loved by the public, Hattie McDaniel's career path was limited by the social context of the time. Most of the roles she received were quite similar, and her compensation often did not match her influence. In her final years, declining health made it impossible to maintain the same work intensity, while medical costs and financial obligations grew. When Hattie McDaniel passed away in 1952, the estate she left behind was small, though her contributions to the entertainment industry are undeniable. Today, Hattie McDaniel's name is still remembered as a pioneer who helped change Hollywood history through her talent and perseverance. Her story reminds us that historical milestones are often created by people who have steadily overcome many more trials than what the audience sees on the screen. Which of these three characters do you think had the most thought-provoking journey? Share your thoughts in the comments to discuss with everyone. If you enjoy authentic stories about Hollywood history and famous artists, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next videos. Thank you for joining us. Larry Fine became a familiar face to generations of viewers as a member of the comedy troupe The Three Stooges. With his signature frizzy hair, bewildered expressions, and seamless chemistry with Moe Howard and Curly Howard, he contributed to hundreds of famous slapstick routines. As television boomed in the 1950s and 60s, the group's short films were constantly rerun, helping the Three Stooges reach a new audience and become a memorable part of American entertainment culture. Despite Larry Fine's image appearing frequently on television, he did not receive a commensurate income from those reruns. Contracts signed early in his career did not include long-term rights from television syndication. While studios and broadcasters continued to earn revenue from the old works, Larry primarily relied on live performances to maintain his income. This made his financial life unstable as age and health began to impact his ability to work. In 1970, Larry Fine suffered a stroke that prevented him from performing as before. In his final years, he lived at a care facility for motion picture industry members, frequently answering fan letters and reminiscing about his time with the Three Stooges. He passed away in 1975, but his performances continue to be introduced to many generations. Larry Fine's story shows that the long-lasting fame of a work does not always guarantee a stable life for the person who created it. Judy Garland entered the entertainment industry at a very young age and quickly became one of Hollywood's most beloved stars. Her role as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz and the song Over the Rainbow brought her image and voice to audiences worldwide. Following her film success, Garland continued to appear in many television programs, concerts, and major stages. She possessed a special ability to convey emotion, making each performance not just a musical act but a profound experience for the viewer. Behind those achievements was a journey filled with pressure. A grueling schedule since childhood, along with ineffective financial management, prevented Judy Garland from accumulating stability proportional to her fame. The Judy Garland Show aired during the 1963 to 1964 television season, but did not last as long as expected. As major opportunities dwindled, she had to continue performing numerous tours to cover living costs and settle outstanding financial obligations. Judy Garland passed away in London in 1969 at only 47 years old. Although her final years were not easy, her artistic legacy far outweighed her personal struggles. Her voice acting ability and sincerity in every performance helped Garland become an icon of American film and music. Her life reminds viewers that behind the brilliant image of a star, there may be pressures the public hardly notices, while also showing the long-lasting power of sincere art. Fred Berry was widely known to audiences as Freddie Rerun Stubbs in the sitcom What's Happening. His red beret suspenders and high-energy dance style helped the character Rerun quickly become a highlight of the show. Before entering acting, Berry worked as a dancer and was a member of the Lockers. This performance experience helped him create a character with its own vitality, combining comedy, physical movement, and natural charisma. As What's Happening achieved success, Fred Berry became one of the most prominent faces of the series. However, he and some other cast members had disagreements with the producers regarding compensation and contract terms. After the show ended, Berry struggled to find new roles that allowed audiences to see him beyond the rerun persona. Being pigeonholed into a famous character prevented his career from developing as steadily as it had initially. In the following years, Fred Berry participated in several programs, appeared at events, and returned to the role of rerun in What's Happening Now. He also went through many changes in his personal life before finding peace and faith. Berry passed away in 2003 at the age of 52. Although his career was not continuous, he is remembered for his positive energy and unique performance style. His story shows that a famous role can bring great opportunity, but can also become a difficult limit to overcome. Mickey Rooney had one of the longest careers in the history of the American entertainment industry. He started appearing in front of the camera as a child and quickly became a major Hollywood star. In the 1930s and 40s, the Andy Hardy film series made Rooney a particularly beloved face. He could act, sing, dance, and play many different types of roles. As cinema changed, Rooney continued to work in television, stage, and new films, maintaining his career for nearly 9 decades. Despite having earned a very high income, Mickey Rooney's financial life was not always stable. Multiple marriages, spending habits, financial obligations, and ineffective management decisions caused most of his wealth to gradually dwindle. In his old age, Rooney even publicly shared about being financially controlled by relatives and having his autonomy restricted. In 2011, he appeared before a U.S. Senate committee to speak out about elder abuse and call for attention toward those in similar situations. Mickey Rooney passed away in 2014 at the age of 93. According to records related to his estate, the value of the assets he left behind was much lower than the image of a star who had worked for nearly his entire life. However, Rooney's legacy cannot be measured by financial figures alone. Hundreds of roles, the ability to adapt across many eras, and a tireless work ethic helped him become an essential part of Hollywood history. His life emphasizes that professional success and financial security are two completely different things. Is an illustrious career enough to be considered a success if there is no financial stability at the end of life? Share your views, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to join us in the stories to come. Not many Hollywood stars could create a fashion trend that influenced the entire United States like Veronica Lake. With her signature peekaboo hairstyle and mysterious beauty, she quickly became one of the greatest cinematic icons of the 1940s. Films like This Gun for Hire, Sullivan's Travels, and The Blue Dahlia left a deep mark on audiences. Her influence was so great that during World War II, the U.S. government encouraged her to change her hairstyle to prevent female workers from imitating it, thus avoiding safety risks when working with machinery. However, when cinematic tastes changed after the war, Veronica Lake's career also took a different turn. The seductive image that made her name was no longer suited to new trends in Hollywood. Along with difficulties in collaborating with studios, her number of roles dwindled. Despite once bringing in significant revenue for major studios, Veronica did not maintain financial stability as career opportunities narrowed over time. In the early 1960s, the public was surprised to learn that Veronica Lake was working at a hotel in New York after being recognized by a reporter. That image sparked much reflection because just a few years prior, she was still one of the most admired stars in Hollywood. Veronica Lake passed away in 1973 at the age of 50, but the works she left behind are still sought out by film lovers. Her story shows that fame can change over time, while outstanding performances are what help an artist be remembered forever. Before sitcoms became the dominant format on American television, Bud Abbott and Lou Costello made millions laugh with their creative banter. In the legendary duo Abbott and Costello, Bud Abbott was always the one who kept the pace, with a steady, quick, and precise performance. It was the contrast between Abbott and Costello that created the famous "Who's on First" routine, which many experts consider one of the most classic comedy routines in American entertainment history. After the duo ended their partnership in the late 1950s, Bud Abbott no longer found his place as easily as before. Television shifted toward modern family sitcoms, while traditional stage comedy lost its previous appeal. Additionally, tax-related issues forced him to sell many assets and transfer ownership rights to some of the works that helped make his name. These changes significantly affected his life in the later years. Although Abbott and Costello's programs continued to be rerun on television years later, Bud Abbott no longer received a commensurate income from those works. He lived quite simply in his final years before passing away in 1974. Nevertheless, Bud Abbott's legacy remains valuable. His ability to drive a scene, control comedic timing, and his chemistry with Lou Costello laid the foundation for many generations of comedians to follow. To many American television viewers, Dana Plato is always associated with the image of Kimberly Drummond in the hit sitcom Different Strokes. From a very young age, she became a familiar face on the small screen with her portrayal of a kind, friendly, and approachable daughter. The show's success brought Dana early fame and opened up a career that many believed would flourish for years to come. A turning point occurred in the mid-1980s when Dana left Different Strokes. Afterward, she strove to find new roles to build a more mature image, but most audiences and directors still remembered her as Kimberly. As acting opportunities declined, Dana took various other jobs to support her life. During this period, the media often focused on her personal struggles rather than her efforts to return to acting. Dana Plato passed away in 1999 at the age of 34, leaving much regret for the viewers who grew up with Different Strokes. Her journey reflects the challenges many child actors face when transitioning to adulthood and seeking a new direction in their careers. In your opinion, what is the biggest challenge for stars who become famous as children? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoy authentic stories about Hollywood and the history of the entertainment industry, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. Few 20th century artists possessed such a diverse range of performance skills as Sammy Davis Jr. He could sing, dance act, play instruments, and command the stage with a confident, versatile presence. Since childhood, Sammy followed his father into performing and early on became accustomed to the pace of the entertainment industry. After years of effort, he became a prominent member of the Rat Pack, frequently appearing alongside Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. Television shows, Las Vegas performances, and film projects helped him become one of the most widely recognized artists in America. Sammy Davis Jr.'s success carried meaning far beyond ordinary fame. During an era where black artists still faced many limits in the entertainment industry, he, step by step, proved his talent on the biggest stages. Sammy's appearance on primetime television contributed to broadening the public's view of black artists. However, to maintain his status as a top star, he had to work a grueling schedule, traveling and performing constantly for many years. Despite once earning a very large income, Sammy did not build a stable long-term financial foundation. An expensive lifestyle, ineffective management decisions, and long-standing tax obligations caused his wealth to gradually decrease. As entertainment trends shifted in the 1980s, old-style variety shows were no longer prioritized as they once were. At the same time, Sammy's health began to decline. Nevertheless, he continued to perform, partly to sustain his career and partly to resolve remaining financial issues. Sammy Davis Jr. passed away in 1990 at the age of 64. After his death, his family faced significant tax debts, leading to many of his personal items, awards, and career memorabilia being put up for auction. Although his final years did not reflect the level of success he once had, Sammy's artistic legacy remains invaluable. He is remembered as a complete artist, a tireless performer, and a figure who helped expand opportunities for generations of artists to follow. For over 3 decades, millions of American viewers were familiar with the high-energy introduction of Ed McMahon whenever The Tonight Show began. His catchphrase, "Here's Johnny," became a signature part of late-night television. However, Ed's role didn't just stop at introducing Johnny Carson. He was also a sidekick reacting to stories, supporting comedy sketches, and helping the show maintain a friendly atmosphere. The chemistry between the two contributed to one of the most successful eras in American television history. Besides The Tonight Show, Ed McMahon also hosted Star Search, which introduced many young talents to the public. He also appeared in commercials, films, and many special programs. Ed's image was often associated with large checks, prizes, and a wealthy lifestyle, leading many to believe he had a very solid financial foundation. For many decades, he was seen as an icon of stability and success on the small screen. After Johnny Carson retired in 1992, Ed McMahon's position in the television industry gradually changed. He still received job offers, but his income was no longer as regular as during his peak. Meanwhile, the cost of living, real estate, and loans continued to rise. A severe neck injury later made it difficult for him to work and appear in public. As his health declined, Ed's ability to generate income was also significantly affected. In 2008, the public was shocked to learn that Ed McMahon's Los Angeles area home was facing foreclosure because he could not make his loan payments on time. The image of a figure who once represented prosperity having to publicly explain financial difficulties gave many people pause. Ed passed away in 2009 at the age of 86 and left behind significant debts. However, his legacy remains in his natural hosting style, his professionalism, and his vital role in creating a memorable era of late-night television. Before becoming a television star, Red Fox spent many years performing at comedy clubs and releasing stand-up albums for adult audiences. His blunt style, quick delivery, and ability to turn everyday situations into laughter helped him build a loyal fan base. The biggest turning point came when he was cast as Fred Sanford in the sitcom Sanford and Son. The junk dealer character, with a grumpy but warm personality, quickly became one of the most prominent figures on 1970s American television. Red Fox's appeal was a key factor in Sanford and Son achieving high ratings for many seasons. He brought years of stage experience, a distinctive way of speaking, and a natural ability to improvise to the role. His joke about nearly having a heart attack became a familiar detail of the show. This success placed Red among the highest-paid television actors at the time and helped expand the presence of black actors in lead roles with depth and influence. However, a high income did not help Red Fox maintain long-term financial stability. He went through several marriages, had high spending habits, and did not manage his tax obligations well. By the late 1980s, his debt to the IRS had grown significantly. In 1989, many assets at his Las Vegas home were seized to settle the outstanding amounts. The incident caused a marked change in Red's life, as most of the wealth accumulated during his years of fame was no longer under his control. In 1991, Red Fox returned to television with the sitcom The Royal Family. The new role was expected to help him restore his career and improve his financial situation. However, during a rehearsal, he suffered a medical emergency and passed away at the age of 68. Because of Fred Sanford's familiar catchphrase, some initially thought he was acting. Red's financial situation at the time was very limited, and Eddie Murphy later supported the funeral costs. Nevertheless, his contributions to comedy and American television continue to be recognized by many generations of artists. From high-value contracts to uncontrollable debts, the journeys of these artists went through turns no one expected. They may have lost most of their wealth, but the roles, music, and moments they once brought to the audience are still remembered. Which story makes you think the most? Let us know in the comments. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss other secrets behind the Hollywood spotlight.